Lucy's Kitchen, it's Lucy's Kitchen. She's Lucy and she's got a kitchen. Lucy's Kitchen.
And now that we've got your attention, let's cook. Hi there. Welcome to Lucy's Kitchen. I'm Lucy and this is my kitchen. Today we're going to make Greek sticky chicken. That is a recipe you won't find in any Greek cookbook. It's unique to my family. Basically, Greek sticky chicken is nothing more than roast chicken with potatoes with a lemon, olive oil, and oregano marinade. Oh, it's so good. And why do we call it sticky? Well, because when it comes out of the oven, all of those delicious marinade ingredients have soaked deep into the chicken and into the skin, and it's become crispy and, you guessed it, sticky. So when we make Greek sticky chicken, we start off with the marinade. I'm going to go ahead and tell you what's in it. First, we want some garlic, of course. You can't have a Greek dish without garlic. I'm going to get my bowl. And when I say marinade, we're not going to marinate this overnight. We're just going to toss it in this mixture and then put it in the roasting pan. So I've got a couple of cloves of garlic here, and I've got some that I've already chopped. I'm going to take my knife, and this is one of my favorite things to do, which is to smash garlic. So you just press down with your knife. You don't need any kind of fancy garlic peeling gadget. You just use just your back of your knife or one of those meat tenderizers, and then you just have this little bit of stuff, the papery covering. And then I like to just take my knife, which has a curved edge, which most chef knives do, and then I hold it so that my fingers are clear and my other fingers are clear. I put it down on my board right into the garlic, and then I just start rocking. Rock it back and forth. Do that as many times as you want. Now in this recipe, we want the garlic to be fairly well chopped, so I'm going to just chop a while. In other recipes, you might just want a little bit of chopping. But for this one, we want the garlic to be fine enough that it clings to both the chicken and to the potatoes. Now, I grew up on this dish. This was a family favorite. My mother used to make this because it was easy and she could go off and do some other work while it was cooking. Because as I said, once you put it in the oven, you kind of forget about it for a while. We grew up on this. And as a matter of fact, at family functions, there would always be some chicken legs cooked in this manner for those children who didn't like the other delicious Greek dishes, such as lamb or, oh, I don't know, even spanakopito. When you're a kid, you're not sure you like that kind of thing. But there was always some good sticky chicken around. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to just scoop it up and throw it into my bowl. And that's it for now. I'm going to save this in case we need a little bit more. In fact, I'll put a little more in, but then we'll save some of the garlic for later in case I need a little bit more. And then the next ingredient we're going to put in is salt and pepper. I have 2 teaspoons of kosher salt and 1 teaspoon of pepper. I'm throwing that in. And so I'm going to just show you that's just thrown in the bottom. I have a good teaspoon and a half of Greek oregano. This is dried oregano that's crumbled very fine. I'm going to throw that in. And I've got 1/3 cup of lemon juice. And I want about, 1/4 cup of olive oil. So that's about 1/4. That's probably plenty. All right. And so don't have to get too fancy at this point. I don't have to do anything special to this, just swirl it around a little. Next thing I'm going to work on is the potatoes. So I'm going to cut these potatoes into potato wedges. And let's get this out of here. So what I like is medium-sized potatoes. These are gold potatoes, my favorite, but you can use any kind of potatoes. When I was growing up, you couldn't get Idaho potatoes. Russet potatoes were even hard to come by. So I grew up on red potatoes, which have a wonderfully sweet flavor and make great Greek-style lemon potatoes. So, but today I'm going to use gold potatoes because I think they're equally delicious, if not even more so. And they hold up very nicely. So I'm going to just cut it in half lengthwise. And you want to make about 8 equal sized wedges. So each potato is about the same size. And if your potatoes are bigger, you might get a few more wedges out of them. Here's the size wedge we're using. So it's about 2 inches long and about an inch wide at the base. Okay, that gives you kind of an idea. So I've cut all these potatoes up, and I'm going to put them now into this marinade. So we're going to swirl it around again. I'm going to just dump all the potatoes in there. Take my spoon and just mix them up. And what I'm trying to achieve here is a little bit of this delicious marinade on every surface of the potato. And there's going to be a lot left in the bottom, which we want. So you just kind of push them around if they're stuck together, make sure they all get a little bit of this delicious seasoning. And then when you're ready and you feel like it's been mixed enough, you're going to just put it into this great big roasting pan. The nice thing about Greek sticky chicken is that you can use all kinds of pans. You can use a roasting pan, you can use a baking pan, even a sheet pan, as long as it has high sides of a couple of inches. And so take a slotted spoon. I'm using this to leave as much marinade behind as possible. And I'm going to just take the potatoes and I'm going to put them just in here, kind of randomly. We're going to want them to sort of be evenly arranged. And okay, so that is great. Now I'll put this aside. My next ingredient is my cut up chicken. When I was growing up, you could buy a cut up chicken anytime. Now it's a little bit harder to find a cut up chicken. So I usually cut up my own chickens. But here's the great news, is that if you can't find a cut up chicken and you don't want to cut up your own, you can use a combination of pieces, as many as you want. This is about 10 pieces. This recipe would be good for as many as 12 pieces of chicken. And you can get legs, all legs. You could do legs and thighs. You could do all thighs, all breasts. You know, you get the idea. And so I'm just going to put all of this in here. And we are going to do, I think we really should do just a few pieces at a time so that everything is nicely covered up by the marinade. So let's do this. Move this over here. And I'm going to bring my roasting pan a little closer so I can start tucking the chicken into the roasting pan. So once I've got my really beautiful marinade all over the legs, I'm going to just stick one there and put one on the opposite side. Now, when we're starting this off, we're going to have our chicken skin side up. We're doing that for a couple of reasons. We want the skin to start to crispen up and brown right away. And the other thing is we don't want it to stick to the pan before it's done. Now, these chicken breasts are enormous. So if you get these giant breasts, just cut them in half and then you'll have more pieces too. And So I'm going to put my 2 chicken breasts in the corners where the pan will probably get a bit hotter. And that's good for that. Now let me take my thighs and these are the wings. And when I cut the wings, I usually cut a bit of the breast meat off with them. Now, if you're just getting wings from the store, you may not even want to use wings, frankly, but actually they turn out really great. So I'm going to go ahead and throw some of this on here and get these nice and covered. And the thighs are really, really nice. Okay, so I'm going to put the thigh in the middle, open up some space, and get the other thigh. Okay, and then right in the middle, I think I'll put my 2 wings because they're going to probably cook the fastest. Now, I still have quite a bit of marinade. When I say quite a bit, I mean maybe about 3 tablespoons of it. So I'm going to take my spatula so I can scrape down all the garlic and all the herbs. And I want all of that because I'm going to pour it over the pot. So I'm going to just pour it, pour a little more, and then use my tool to get all that bit of goodness that's in the bottom here. Okay. Now, you probably wonder, why didn't I just pour it over the top in the first place? The reason I do it this way is that each piece gets more of the seasoning than it would if I had just poured it on top. It completely covers each piece, and then I know it's going to be very flavorful. Last thing I want is for one piece to not have as much flavor. Looking at these potatoes and chicken pieces just reminds me so much of when I was growing up. My mother made this dish all the time. As you see, it's so easy. You just throw it all together and you've got dinner. I learned that you should try to leave a little bit of space between things, so as it cooks, it has room to crispen up, and we'll do a little bit more of that later. I learned how to make this dish when I was 11 years old. It was the first dish my mother taught me. It's such a great memory because she really wanted to encourage my interest in cooking, but she didn't want to give me something that was going to be dangerous or hard. So this was it. I felt like a really accomplished chef after making this dish, and my father raved about it, my mother raved about it. So what can I say? I've been making this for a really long time. So I'm just going to cover it with foil, which I won't do on camera, but I will cover it with foil. I'm going to put it in the oven, and we're going to take a look at it halfway through the cooking, probably take the foil off at that point, let it brown, and then I will see you when it's done, which will be about an hour and a half to 2 hours. So I'll see you in a few. Well, it's perfect. It's just so incredible. Let's see if I can move this closer to the, okay, there we go. Oh, everything is just so beautifully browned and crisp. That's the key. And one of the reasons we call it sticky chicken is that everything sticks to the pan, but whenever you check it and turn the pieces, you want to use your spatula upside down because it very easily gets things off the bottom without ripping them up. So I am excited about this. So here's an interesting story. I'm going to let it cool off for a minute here before I serve some. But when I was growing up, I would hear these great stories about life in Greece. And my parents would share them usually at dinner time. And so in Greece, the neighborhood baker didn't bake on Sunday. So this dish was a Sunday dish. And here's how it happened. The baker didn't bake bread on Sunday, but he kept his oven going, and all of the women in the neighborhood who did not have ovens, they had little, little cook flames, would carry their dinner to the baker, and he would, for a few drachmas, would let you put it in his oven, and then it would bake for hours and hours, and then you go back and get it. And that's how they made their Sunday dinner. That was the only time they could actually roast or bake something, was on Sunday. So this actually is a very special dish because it's served on Sunday. And that was the day that everybody rested. And it was really, really a great time. So I'm going to serve myself this beautiful breast. And I think I'm going to use this to serve a few potatoes because they are amazing. Oh, look at those, they're gorgeous. Oh, there we go. And I'm going to serve this with a little bit of a traditional Greek salad made of fried peppers. So these are small whole peppers. They'd often use banana peppers, or in this case, these are just little sweet peppers. And some people really liked spicy peppers. So it just depended on the person, but you just fry them in olive oil until they kind of turn brown like this. And when you put them in the bowl, you just sprinkle a little wine vinegar on them, and that's it, they're done. And then I also have another very typical Greek side dish, which is fried zucchini. So usually if you fried one thing, like the peppers, then you didn't want to throw the oil away, so you would fry something else. And so they'd fry eggplant slices or zucchini, and that's what I have right here. And, well, looks really, really good. So I'm going to move this over so I don't burn myself. And ready to try it. Now, I like the breast. It's always done beautifully, and the skin keeps it pretty moist. But Greek sticky chicken is it's a little different because it's a little bit, I'd say a little bit drier than normal chicken, but not dry like ugh. It's because of the long cooking time, and the caramelization that goes on in the pan. That's when you get, oh God, that's when you get, I guess dry is the wrong word. It's caramelized. They become caramelized, like all of the meats and the vegetables become caramelized, except the difference is that we have lemon juice in here. So the lemon juice and the olive oil and the garlic and all the seasonings and the flavors sort of caramelize, and they are a wonderful concentrated lemon flavor. So I'm going to give my first taste. Wow, that is amazing. Concentrated, very, very lemony. Garlic is not too strong. I'm going to taste one of these potatoes now, because these will have the most flavor, of course, because they're absorbing all of that really delicious liquid. Okay. So when my mother used to make these potatoes, we couldn't get enough of them. Let's be honest. You could make a whole meal just out of these incredibly delicious potatoes. I just absolutely love this dish. I love the fact that you can just put it in the oven and it cooks for hours, so you really don't have much tending to do. You check it, you turn the pieces over, make sure that everything kind of moves around the pan, and altogether I'd say it takes about 2 hours. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining us here at Lucy's Kitchen. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and come back next time for more delicious recipes from my kitchen to yours.